Action.
Do it again.
And action.
Hello. So welcome to my favorite things from this month. Starting off with my daughter's birthday. She turned 11. We had a bouncy trampoline party thing, and she ordered little miniature animal cakes instead of a big cake. And yeah, it was a lovely day, and it was the first party that she's been able to have since 2020. She didn't 2020 2021 it was just me and her sister at home because of the circumstances, which sucked because it was her 10th birthday, so she missed out on a big one, but 11 was a success, so yay. This month energetically I found has been better than the other months. I don't know if it's because spring has sprung and the weather is warmer and there's flowers, and I always with my health conditions I do better in the warmer seasons with the sunlight. So I'm feeling more energetic and more vitality myself. So that could be a reason. But I just feel very optimistic for the future. I feel like things are turning around. Although my father did have issues with the stent that was in his heart after his heart attack, but he's okay. So that was a bit of a close call, but we're just very thankful. And I think he's going to try and do less from now on and scale back, and we're trying to spend more time together. There's nothing like a close call to really help you get your priorities straight. And I think that's what's this month energetically feels like to me. It feels like a reevaluation of how I'm running my life and what I'm prioritizing and what I'm focusing on. And as you might have saw in the 9 card spread, I'm learning how to figure out where I want to be in the future, which is something I haven't done. I've been in survival mode since 2020, I guess, just day by day. And now I'm like, actually, what do I want my future to look like? Where do I want to be? How do I want to be living? And start now trying to, put in the steps to make that happen. So that's how I feel right now. I'm like curating my whole life, not just my tarot collection. But my favorite things for this month, we'll start with my favorite thing that I made with the chocolate pots de creme. I put the raspberries on mine because I really feel like the raspberries counterbalance the bitterness of the chocolate with, the tartness of the raspberries and the sweetness of the sugar. And it's one of my favorite desserts. I could eat that every day, all day, and I'd be very happy. In terms of things I bought these beautiful sun catchers, and I'll put photos up. I bought the honeycomb bee one for my kitchen, and the amethyst one for my bedroom. I love sun catchers not only because of their aesthetic beauty, how they look, I think they're gorgeous, but they put rainbows all over my home, and that makes me happy. Every single day I notice them, and they bring the same amount of joy anytime I see the little rainbows dancing across the room. And just they're worth it to me for that daily beauty and joy that I get. I also got another hanging for my front door, the one with the butterflies and the moon, which hopefully I remember to put a picture up. But then I thought, what if someone takes it? And I know that's sad to think, but I knew that if I came home and it was gone, I would be really upset. So I decided not to hang it on my door because I love it so much. So instead you'll see it hanging right there behind me. I need to change the hook out though for a little metal hook, because those big plastic ones are not that nice to look at. I also got this. So I normally thrift most of my clothes, but I was at the supermarket, at the shopping center / mall with my children to get gifts for their friends' birthdays, and I walked past an Australian shop, and they had all these crochet items, and there was this cardigan obviously with a big puffy flowers, which I love, and the skirt that I'm wearing, I'll try and put a full-length photo up. Hey Sylves. And I thought, yeah, I can wrap myself in crochet, but it's also it also doubles as a learning tool for me, because I've never made clothing, and I cannot read the written instructions. It just doesn't compute and translate in my head. So normally I make stuff from YouTube tutorials, but there's not YouTube tutorials for everything. Whereas this is something physical I can sort of lay my crocheting against and copy. So I'm excited for that. Hey Sylvie. So those were my favorite purchases this month. My favorite book was The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Bolton. This was phenomenal. I laughed so much. It filled me with so much joy and so much happiness. I was just giggling and totally enraptured with it. And it left me feeling like I was on cloud nine afterwards. I had such a good time with that book. So it was hands down my favorite book of this month. I also, in terms of movies, I watched Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I think that's what it's called. That was interesting. So the start, I didn't really enjoy. Once the villain came into the picture, it was mind-blowing. It's very trippy. I thought the costume design was phenomenal, like the hair, makeup, and wardrobe, stunning. How much fun would it be to design that stuff? But really well done. So that was a really great movie. I also, in terms of television shows, Rick and Morty's up, so that's just as dark and twisted as ever. And I started watching this one called Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. It's old. It's got Dawson from Dawson's Creek. But the reason that it caught my attention is because Kristen Ritter's in it, and I love Kristen Ritter, and I think that's her name. And she plays an absolute entitled bitch, but who just is chaotic beyond anything. And yeah, I'm here for it. That's all I got to say about that one. Oracles. So this month in oracles was very hit and miss. There were a lot of oracles that I just did not connect to. So I'm going to be going through all of the oracles next in the next part. The standouts for me, my favorites were the Aha Oracle. Even though it's not my aesthetic, I'm not really a fan of the artwork, the color scheme, but it is so different. The messages and the themes in it were just very different from all of my other decks. And when a deck now is like so novel and unique, that's what really captures my attention, when it's not like everything else that I have. So that was probably the standout. But I also liked the Wild Woman Oracle, which I've lent to my mother. She messaged me and she said, have you, I think you should get this deck to do, a walkthrough on it. I'm like, I already have, Mum. She's like, I'm behind you on your channel. But I was like, I've just given it to her to try it out. And if she likes it, I'm going to give it to her because I'm a nice daughter. But it's, yeah, I did enjoy that one. And also, what's the other one? The Pass Around Smiles, something like that. It was the affirmation one, and it's the only affirmation deck that I've actually liked. Not only because like the affirmations are great and the artwork's very pretty, the guidebook expands on the affirmations, which is what I like. I don't just want a sentence on a card and that's it. I like to, as you know, read and get some more, because I don't know what's going to resonate with me or what message is really going to stick and send shivers up and down my arm, goosebumps. So those were the decks I like the most, but I'm going to go through all the decks and give you my honest opinion about them. But yeah, this month's been really great. I've really enjoyed myself, and I have been healing my arm, but it's feeling a lot better now. So I'm looking forward to also getting some more movement back in my day, even though I could have gone for walks, but I just didn't. It was cold. Look, during the winter and half of autumn, I am a cave troll. And I just stay in my little house, and it's the rest of the year that I'm actually a functional human being. So I'm looking forward to being, out and about, and as much as I can go out and about, but just being more vibrant and energetic and happier. Just the sunshine and the warmth really do affect me greatly. But I hope that, yeah, you're enjoying yourselves today, and I'll say goodbye here, but yeah, head on to the next deck things if you want to see all the decks that I bought this month. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who subscribed. I honestly didn't think anybody would subscribe, but over 200 of you have, and I'm just really touched. Like, my mind's blown. Like, wow. Even my partner's like, 200 people subscribe to this channel. Yes, sir, they have. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll catch you soon. Okay, so let's look at the favorite yarns of this month. So my favorite project was making this little square. Hey Sylvie, out you go, my darling. As gorgeous as your back is, we need to see. I'm sorry. I just choked on my own laugh. This was the Jasmine Puff stitch in oh, I forget what this is called, Shield, I think, Life in the Long Grass. And yeah, I love it. Like, it's one of those stitches that looks great both ways, but I do love it. That was my favorite thing that I made. It is time intensive, let me tell you. This stitch is not fun, but it looks great. So that was my favorite project. My favorite yarn this month, favorite new yarn that I worked with was the Knit or Dye in Angled Lobelia. It's so soft and lovely. This was the 4-ply. It's very sweet, and yeah, I've purchased some more from them to try some more of their other, like their 8-plies out and see what they're like. But I had a lot of fun with this one. Hello, I'm Chanel. This is Spirited Stardust, and today we're doing the monthly wrap up of the decks. This is the deck portion of what I acquired this month. So we'll start with Revelations Transparent Symbols by Barbara Bakuanu. I don't know how to pronounce that. So I've got the walkthrough all below for all of these decks. So that comes with the little silk sheet. Let's just take it out. So this was the 72 transparent cards. This is the guidebook. It's colored. They're not in order. There is no index. So you do just have to flip through and look for the picture. That's how you find it. So these are the cards. I'll read one out while I flip through, and then I'll give you my personal opinion on it. So they're made to be layered on top of each other. So I'm going to read this one. This is repressed. Closure, concealment, suppression, removal, oppression, denial, Pandora's box, and secret. The box in the image holds all those feelings, emotions, thoughts, and persons or experiences that have been removed from the field of conscience and have been buried somewhere deep, because they have been once regarded as bad. Denial, non-integration, and not solving them may lead to physical somatizations, sorrow, fear, anxiety, and depression. What is in the box is not gone, but only hidden, and the heavier it is, the more it will burden the person. The box may hold something that is not wanted or cannot be expressed, a suppressed impulse, an abandoned desire, an unfulfilled dream, an important secret, something once known, the dowry box. Depending on the card it combines with, the opening of the box may lead to treasures and surprising revelations, confronting fears, healing, liberation, energy, and emotional relief, personality retrieval. So this is a hard deck to show because it's all transparent, so it all just like goes on top of each other. It's hard to shuffle too, obviously. These are plastic. I have like an issue with smells, and this is just too pungent for me. I can smell it too much. So I don't tend to want to use it because as soon as I open the box, I can smell it and it upsets me and gives me a headache. I think the artwork is lovely. The idea is lovely, but I just don't see myself using it at all, really, to be honest with you. The concept was cool. I don't really see this being used in a divinatory way. And in terms of the psychological components, I studied psych at university for 3 years. It was my major. I was going to be a psychologist, and I decided in the 4th year, no, I'm not going that route. It is a bit, sometimes the textbook components are a bit reminiscent of psychological textbooks. So I don't have a use for this in my personal practice at this time. And like I said, because of the smell, I know I'm not going to get over it, and I'm just going to want to put it away immediately. I do love this one though. This is gorgeous. So at the moment, I am going through a curation of my collection where I am really being, I don't want to say harsh, but very selective with what I'm keeping. I'm trying to pare it down quite a lot, even though what I have I won't consider like unmanageable, but I just feel like there's some decks in there that are okay, or that I only want to use very occasionally, and at this point in time I just don't resonate with that. I just want to have like decks that bring me joy. I'm back on the Marie Kondo kick. What sparks joy? That's what happens like after going on a acquisition binge, because like I said, I just got into this stuff a few months ago, and I just wanted to grab everything and figure out what I like. I'm now at the point where I am pretty much sort of figured out what it is I do like, and not so heavily influenced by other people's tastes. So I've still got a few more decks still to come, because shipping is just so delayed, especially because a lot of my decks are not local. So once everything's come, I will pare it right down and purchase more intentionally in the future, like be a bit more discerning in my selections. So I know this one is just not going to be utilized, so therefore I will be rehoming this one. It was fun, it was different, but I just, oh, the smell. When I think of that, I think of the scene in Always Sunny where Dennis is like, you haven't thought of the smells, you bitch. And I did not think of the smells. So plastic decks, I've learnt, not for me, man, not for me, no thank you. Okay, so the next deck I purchased this month is the, I'm just trying to get it out because it comes in a giant bag, so I'll show you what bag it comes in, because I didn't actually show the bag in the walkthrough. So it comes in this very big almost shopping bag, linen pouch. It's the Earth Medicine cards, or Weaving the Cycles cards. Oops, a daisy. So this is what they look like. They're very roughly done like that. I'm going to admit that I don't want to say upset me, but I felt like that's a little too handmade. Like it couldn't have cleaned that up a little bit. I feel like too, these could have definitely been smaller. I don't think they need to be as big, but maybe what other people use them as, like altar cards. Like I can't even get it in the picture. So perhaps that's better that way. But for me, I don't even need to read from the guidebook, because there's not really anything in the guidebook. There's no like little descriptions. It is what it is. Like that's a blooming flower. That's a fruiting flower. So these are different stages in the flower cycle. You know, this is Sabbats now. So you can't really use the guidebook in terms of gleaning anything additional from it. It's just, it is exactly what it is. I don't have a use for this in my practice. So I don't do altar spaces. I don't really do spell work where I might use this, you know, in it. I don't have a need for this deck. It's very pretty. I like the, you know, energy behind it. The execution is a bit rough, but the artwork's gorgeous. And it was local, and I always try to support local artists. I really like doing that. So that was a big factor in purchasing it, but yeah, personally, I'm just not going to use it. Like I never need to put a north, west, south, east, you know, compass signifier for anything. So I just don't have a use for it. Hopefully we'll find someone that knows of a way that they would use this deck with all these like sort of signifiers of cycles. But for me, I don't. So it is leaving. Like I barely used it. I think I've pulled it out 2 or 3 times, but I didn't know how to use it, to be honest. Do you know what I mean too? I mostly use my decks for divinatory purposes, or for inner reflection work, or shadow work, light work, journaling, all that sort of stuff, and I just couldn't use that in any of that way. Next up, we've got the Reclaim Oracle by Marion Constantine. So this is beautifully executed. Like the quality is amazing. This is the guidebook, so it's very brief. There's not much in there, and the way it's written. So I'll read one card out. So we've got belonging. So I'll read so you can see. It's almost like a poem in a way. Belonging is only felt once, at the beginning of life. When I'm older, it's a hunger for the original connection that cannot be felt again. Yet we spend our lives pretending we can travel back in time. Wanting to belong is wanting to feel safe. Being held is the closest I'll ever come to feeling it again. So I'll admit, I wasn't drawn to this in the beginning. Like, the artwork's not my thing. The theme wasn't my thing, but I'd seen so many YouTubers using it and waxing poetic about it, and that did influence me. And I thought, maybe I'm just not seeing something, and when I get it, I'll realize. But my instincts were right. So I've used this a lot. I don't know if it's because the way I feel emotions has changed since I had my psychedelic experience. I don't have any issues feeling emotions, even ones maybe other people would consider like tough, like shame, for instance. I've become more of an observer of that sort of thing, and I just allow it to be, and allow it to, you know, pass. And I'm really good at knowing what I'm feeling, with all the nuances, and understanding why I'm feeling that, and knowing how to work with it and how to alchemize it, transform it. So for me, I did a lot of readings with this. I had a stalker card. I just kept getting fear, and I'm like, okay, yeah, in the past that is definitely that would have been like something I had a big issue with. Like, fear was a constant. I was just always in fear of everything, the future, the past, the present. Scared of everything. That's not the way it is anymore. I don't fear anything anymore. I've accepted like life and death, if that makes sense. I'm just happy to be here now while I'm here, for as long as I'm here, and to allow what is. And yeah, that's what I just feel like the purpose of life is just to experience things and to allow them to experience it and allow it to pass, like not to hold on to anything, and not to worry about the future or the past, and just to live in the moment. So I just kept, like, I'm not joking, just kept coming up, and I sat with it, and I journaled, but I was like, okay, what else? Like, I just couldn't read with it. You know, when you just get the thing where it just won't work with you? Like, maybe the deck's just like, you don't need me. And I'm just reiterating that fact, like, you know, you don't need me, and you're not going to get, I can't help you. Like, I could help somebody else. So I think it's just one of those cases where I think in the past, well, I was still very much mired in all of that, like, repression and having a hard time facing my, you know, limitations, fears, or whatever, and my self-imposed, like, distresses and negative emotions and my traumas. This would have been really helpful. I could see how people can use this, like, very therapeutically, and as a tool to work through all these different kinds of things. But at the moment, I just don't need it. So I am going to find another home for it. But like I said, it is beautiful, and just sucks because it's gorgeous. Like, now I've seen it, I'm like, I actually do like the artwork, and the quality is just stunning. I think it's gorgeous. And the write-ups are very sweet, in their, like I said, in their poetic nature. But I can't read with it because I just don't need what it's giving. So, like, yeah, all those issues I had with grief and loss, I've made peace, now that I've been one with all that was and ever will be. So yeah, I'm going to pass this on to others. It's a case of, it's not you, it's me. But it was beautiful, and I did, you know, enjoy whatever time we had together. But I know when we're not resonating. And okay, the next deck for this month was the Mood Tarot by Natalie Maraki, a disgustingly relatable tarot deck. So this follows the very traditional RWS imagery. The cards are plastic. I didn't realize I don't like plastic, so I'll show them to you. So this is what they're like. There's no guidebook, obviously. You just have to know the regular Rider-Waite-Smith, and everything's called different things. Like, this is the Queen Bish of Dick Sticks, and it's like, okay, Karen, put away the label maker. Now, I originally got this because I saw it on someone's channel. I can't remember. I'm sorry, let's go get that dick. I can't remember whose channel it was, but I thought, oh, that looks funny. maybe I will have a laugh. And look, I did, but after you read it a couple of times and you've seen the joke, you know, multiple times, the laughs wear off. So I just, boobs. I didn't really want to like keep using it. I don't like that it's plastic, so it's got like a scent, and I'm not actually a fan of the tactile experience of plastic. And I don't actually like the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. It does nothing for me. So this one I knew like immediately, like I had a giggle the first time, you know, I went through it all, ha ha ha, and then I'm like, oh, this is gonna get old real quick. And yeah, it did for me. So I already knew straight away I'm going to be rehoming this. I'll just show you the next. If I had titties, I wouldn't need all this shit. Free weed and chocolate, guys. So yeah, it's, once you've read all the jokes, it doesn't keep delivering for me. And like I said, I think the fact that it doesn't have a guidebook with someone's different point of view, I now know something that's I really, really like. I love reading guidebooks. I love reading someone else's viewpoint and why they, well, generally why they chose the art that they did for that card. But whereas this is the typical Rider-Waite-Smith, that's obviously Cartman. They call him Daddy and Mom. Mom, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom from Mean Girls. So yeah, like it's a novelty gag deck pretty much, and eventually that wears thin and I don't have a use for it in my collection, so I will not be keeping the Mood Tarot. Okay, so here we have the Wandering Soul Oracle. I think it's by Rachel Jean, but don't quote me on that. Oh, it is. So this is what it looks like. I find that it gets marked really easily. I have really oily fingers, even after I've washed them. They're just very oily. So it does come up. It's got the rainbow holographic, and it's very minimalist imagery. I'll read an excerpt from the book while I flip through. This one is Lineal Truth. One thing I really don't like about this guidebook, well, one, it's not very substantial, but two, it's not in alphabetical order. There is no index, so I have to constantly flip through, and you might say like just use it intuitively. It's not the oh god, my kids. Oh nope, that's me with my shea butter. Lineal Truth. So here we go. There is an old wound, an old curse that belongs not only to you but also your ancestors. Before your soul entered its current vessel, this wound occurred within one soul, and it has been allowed to reverberate continuously down your ancestral line. You are able to feel that pain and see what it has done to others in your family. You can see how others have attempted to cover it up, to conceal it from the outside world. While it's not up to you to solve what happened, you can take the responsibility to make peace with the wound. When the wound has its bandages removed and is acknowledged and illuminated, it is finally offered the opportunity to heal. You are in a position to mend a hurt which has affected many souls, and you can prevent it from causing further pain to those who are yet to come in your ancestral line. You will need to spend time with the pain and spend time with those it has affected. Ask your guides and angels for assistance. Ask them to infuse the space of pain with their healing white light. Be the one who mends the lineal wound and breaks the generational curse. I found it hard to connect to this deck. So even with that, I got that Lineal Truth one. That was something I experienced back when I had my psilocybin experience. I literally could see the threads of like ancestral trauma throughout all of my loved ones, and I saw them as like dark threads. And when I was in my state of, you know, I don't know what to call it, oneness, complete consciousness, universal truth, I used my light to sever all of those threads from everyone in my entire line. So like that was something I was already doing. I was already breaking, you know, the generational trauma and curses in my line. I decided it ends with me. This is not going onto my children. My children will not continue to pay this karma. But then, yeah, during that trip, I was able to like energetically do it, completely dissolve it, gone, including from my own spirit soul. So a lot of these ones like no longer resonate with me now, currently. Sometimes the write-ups, I find them great. Sometimes I find them just confusing and unclear. I also just hate the font. It's very hard to read. It's little, it's all in caps. Yeah, I don't know how to use this deck, I'll be honest. It's not really divinatory for me. A lot of it doesn't resonate for me in terms of, what's that word? Inner work, journaling, self-reflection. And it sucks, but I could tell immediately. I'm like, I don't think I can get anything from you. I really wanted to like this deck. And I think that what happened with this one is I'd seen this previously. Sorry. I suffer with like gut issues, so it's a thing. And I just wasn't drawn to it. The artwork isn't really for me. The limited color palette isn't for me. The guidebook wasn't enough to draw me in. I did like that it was by local artists, but I was like, no, it's not for me. But then I saw someone on YouTube rave about it. Like they loved this deck. And I was like, wow, if this person really loves this deck, they made it, they hyped it up to me. You know, and I'm like, maybe it was something I was missing and I'll get it. And now after purchasing it, this is a lesson that I had to learn, that just because someone else really loves something doesn't mean it's also meant for you. Sort of my first instinct tends to be correct in terms of what I like, what I think will resonate, what I think I can learn from. And I've got to stop but I've got to give less weight to someone else on YouTube's personal opinion about a deck if I didn't feel like it called to me in that respect. If it's something I'm already interested in, then it's just like further kindling for the fire. But I can't I need to remember that if I've seen a deck countless times, I saw this so many times, and just it didn't intrigue me once, like that might change. Like that's something different. If I keep seeing a deck, and nothing, and then one day I see it and I'm just like, oh, I'm seeing it with new eyes. But personally, not because of anything that person's saying. Like maybe it's just in a video where they're just using it to do a spread. Like they're not, waxing lyrical about the great things about the deck, so to speak. That they're not showcasing the deck. They're just using it in the background. I'm like, all of a sudden I've noticed it. That's different. Maybe that means, at that time that deck now can serve me. But if it's still not grabbed my attention, but someone now is sitting and they're talking about how amazing it is and how much they love it and you really need to get it, I need to really just take that with a grain of salt. And be like, how is that feeling in my body? Am I wanting to purchase this deck because like I feel intuitively in my gut that I want it, or am I just wanting to purchase this deck because this YouTuber is a great salesperson? They've done an excellent job at selling this deck to me. But like I said, like I wanted to love this deck. I like it's different. I like different, quirky, unique things. But every time I've pulled something and I've read the guidebook and the message, it just didn't resonate. It didn't hit. It didn't make sense. It didn't inspire me. It was just like, it was very emotionless. There wasn't any depth to it. But like I said, I'm not pooping on this deck. In terms of like the quality and stuff, like I said, this is wonderful artwork. It's not my personal taste, but it's still well done. This deck is still well done. The cardstock is quality. The holograph is quality. The experience with the creators, like purchasing this deck, wonderful customer service. There's probably, I know there's lots of people that absolutely adore this deck and the creators' other decks. But I should have listened to my instinct that said to me, this one's not for you. But that being said, maybe it was meant to come to me so I could pass it on to someone else, put it in someone else's hands who needs it. So sometimes I think that too, that maybe things do find their way to me because it is through me that they will get to where they're meant to go. I am the conduit. I am the intermediary. I'm the one setting up the exchange. So in that case, that's fine. I'm happy to do that. But in terms of purchasing decks for myself, though, I do want to be, it's not so much more intentional, but like less swayed by others' jubilations. Sometimes if I don't feel anything within me, if I'm not feeling any pull within me, if I'm just purely listening to the hearsay, the talk about it, and just going, well, they liked it, so maybe I will too. Because even some YouTubers whose decks, maybe I have 75% of the same decks as them, just because we share 75% doesn't mean I'm going to love everything that they have as well. Same with me. Like, yeah. So this was just an instance of, it's not you, it's me. Just didn't connect, but that's okay. It's gorgeous, and I know that it will find where it's meant to belong, and I will help it get there. So that was the Wandering Soul Oracle. So now we've got the Aha Oracle by Lenny. So this really was something out of my usual, what I would usually select. So these are the backs, which don't really do anything for me at all. I especially don't like any text on my backs personally. I think I edged mine. Yeah, I edged mine in like a gold, so they didn't come edged, so I just sort of matched the same color. The cardstock is really thin and it's glossy, so it shows up. Like you see all my prints, all of my prints. So I'm not a fan of the cardstock. I'm also not a big fan of the artwork. Look, I'll just read a excerpt while I flip through, and then I'll give you some more of my opinions about it. This is Surrender. Creation of resistance, trust in purpose, yielding. I remain positive as I accept every situation and circumstance as part of the overall design. The story is that you're here. You have made yourself available for this journey. The choice was yours, and now it is up to you to have faith in what is unfolding. The impetus behind embarking on this journey was your desire for growth and self-transformation. Despite that, we seem to be desirous of continual smooth sailing, forgetting that it is times of conflict or challenge which most often present the greatest opportunities for such growth. We use various conventions, religions, or schools of thought to act as a buffer against the discomfort of our knowingness and uncertainty. I have heard it said that all roads lead to the same door. There isn't a right way or a wrong way. There is only a way for each of us to reach our destination. This card asks us to trust in the process and to use whatever means we may to enjoy and feel confident in our journey, while surrendering to the knowledge that all will unfold as it will. Ah, I love it. I love that one. That was a great message. Sometimes I do struggle with that. Like, I am someone who's always, as a Scorpio too, wants to experience continual growth. I always want to grow spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. But I'm aware that a lot of that time for growth, it involves death, it involves tower moments, it involves conflict and struggle. And sometimes I'm like, hey, universe, can you allow me to grow through like peace and love and happiness? Not always destruction and despair. And I think growth is possible through both light and dark. So it doesn't always have to be growth for the dark, but you've got to always to accept the ebb and flows in life. Anyway, I'm digressing. So some of the images I do like for instance, I do like this one. I prefer the color ones over the monochromatic. But a lot of it, it's a bit same. So I'm not a fan of this artwork as a whole, I guess. Like some cards I like. This is lovely. This is lovely. Some cards I do not like that clown at the beginning. Oh, no. Do not enjoy that clown. But some is lovely. So why did I give this one a shot? I just had a feeling. I think it's also by a local author, I believe. It's either Australia or New Zealand. So I always like to support the locals. And yeah, and it ended up being, well, the messages. I needed to hear the messages. So even though, like, I don't really like this one, I don't like all the artwork, and I'm not a fan of the cardstock or the backs. The guidebook's amazing. The messages are amazing. It's really unique. I don't really have anything else like this. So yeah, I'm actually definitely keeping it, even though it's really not my aesthetic at all, man. But it's found its place. It gave me that wisdom, and I'm always keen to learn from anything that wants to teach me. So I will be keeping that Aha Oracle. Okay, so the next deck that I worked with this month was Pass Around the Smile. And these are the backs. I edged mine in like a burnished gold. They're matte. And I must say, I like this deck. So I normally have a pretty bad track record with affirmation decks. I haven't liked any of them. This is the first one that has an inspirational or a positive quote that I kept because the guidebook expands on it. It's not just this. I need more than just a sentence on a card. So it's got a good guidebook. I actually really like the illustrations in this. I really like the artwork. It's just got a really positive, uplifting energy. I always feel better after using this deck. It's like my little cheerleader, but it's not shallow. It's got some depth, and it was quite surprising. I wasn't sure about this one. I really wasn't sure. And it's really great when a deck surprises you and exceeds your expectations. So for whatever reason, this deck and I just really clicked, and I go to it. I don't just use it whenever I've put it in a selection for the week. I do tend to go to this whenever I'm feeling a bit down or feeling a bit meh, whatever you want to say. And it's a quick pick me up. So this was the Pass Around the Smile deck, which I will be keeping.
Hi. Hi, beautiful girl. I love you, Sylvie. Nova. Look at mommy. Look at mommy.
Yes or no? Actually, wait, no, not for the YouTube intro.